I'm going to start this with a confession.
Mm-hmm.
Bit of a confession.
You've got that look in your eye.
I got that look in my eye, and I'm sorry. There's something about the North London derby that really, really affects me in not a good way.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, it really, really bothers me. And so on about 68 minutes, I got up and left my flat.
Oh my God.
And took my dog for a walk.
Oh my God.
For half an hour. And I returned, I went without my phone, and I returned hoping that the game would be done. When I actually returned, it was 92 minutes and it was still 3-1. And I had a good mind to walk back out again for the rest of the 5 minutes.
Laura,
I know.
Laura.
I'm really sorry, everyone. I couldn't handle it.
You've made it worse for yourself.
Yeah, it's big of you to admit that.
The reason I admit it is because as I was walking up and down the streets outside my home, I walked past someone who I think was doing the same thing.
No, little nod.
Genuinely, I think this person was doing the same thing because he was walking with his hands in his pockets with a really disturbed look on his face. And I just wanted to be like, Are you an Arsenal fan who's a coward like me? Are we in cahoots together?
Frightened of your own feelings?
How's your heart rate?
What moment did you walk out? Was there a specific thing that happened, or was it always planned that way?
Do you know what? It was when, I think it's Peter Drury on the commentary, or someone said there is a quarter of the game left.
Yeah.
And at that point I thought, right, either I'm going to keel over here because I'm in such a state of terror,
Sure.
or I walk out. So again, I want to apologise to the fan base, but I couldn't take it. I just couldn't take
Shocking.
it.
I remember that moment as well because normally if you're watching a game and it's a game where you're not invested in the team and one team is 3-1 up, you think, all right, well, this is probably done.
Yeah, it's done.
The winner is probably established. But a quarter of a North London derby feels like so many games that can be sort of squeezed into that.
Such a long time.
Xavi Simons got the ball at 3-1. He got the ball, and I thought, well, if this goal now, there's nothing.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
It. There's nothing in it.
And
it plays me ahead
because the disallowed goal that they had that I'm sure we may revisit, which we mentioned yesterday. I cannot believe it was disallowed, but it was so cool. That was an indicator, wasn't it? That this could always happen. This threatened in that moment to become one of those topsy-turvy derbies where you can't kind of get any sort of sense of balance within
100%.
yourself while you're watching the game.
Talking
But
about
obviously,
now. I'm in a state again.
That never came to pass though. So when Victor Gyökeres stuffs one in right at the end, talk us through how you felt then.
I think I sort of did a very big kind of exhale, but then continued to not watch because there needs to be such a buffer for me to feel happy. My brother texted me actually at 3-1, I think, saying, I am more worried now than I was at 1-1.
Yeah, I
because
think
that's what Arsenal has done.
We all kind of felt a bit like that, I'm sure.
We were a lot calmer at 3-1 in here than it sounds like you guys were, but we were obviously in our little bubble, which helps. I recommend it.
My daughter was clambering over me for the entirety of the first half, which did make it easier because I was trying to wrangle
Does it give you a bit of perspective to be like, this is my child I've brought up, what I'm watching is ultimately meaningless?
This is my priority.
A little bit, but I did make her wear a little mini Arsenal kit, so
that's
nice,
beautiful.
It was nice stuff.
So you were watching at home, Sam?
I was at home,
and presumably you watched the last.
I watched
20
it all.
minutes. Yeah,
Laura.
well done.
Yes, I watched it all. Peter Drury, man, on your own game is crap for me.
Oh my gosh!
Crap.
Just give it a rest,
It ruins
man.
it ruins it.
Yeah,
it's just ruins it.
He, I think he had a bit of a moment, didn't he, with possibly with Ali McCoist next to him a good few years ago on Amazon when they had some midweek games and everyone was like, oh, this is a great combination. And it was kind of fun as a kind of thing every now and then.
Yeah.
And I
too
think
much of a good thing, isn't
Peter
it?
Drury is a lot, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched it at home. Thoroughly enjoyable, relatively relaxed, honestly, compared to your story. Very, very relaxed. I think it was a little bit ropey at the start for obvious reasons, namely the Declan Rice reason, and I think the anxiety that we all had a hangover anxiety, but it disappeared quite quickly.
And I mean, we'll start with maybe the Declan Rice thing, because I think that probably is part of the reason that I got up and left, is because I could just see it happening again. And his mistake is the fourth big error that's led to a goal against us since the turn of the year.
It was it was laughably soon after that goal.
It was
24
so
seconds.
quick. I was just like, this is a joke.
Yeah.
How fast that is.
It almost felt like a parody.
Honestly,
have we done this on purpose?
no wonder
as a
Rice was
joke?
laughing at it. It was fucking ridiculous.
But did that give you any kind of faith that they had belief in themselves, that he was in a position where he felt like he could laugh that off? Because to me, I felt like the difference in the body language there compared to the game against Wolves, obviously after Wolves' first goal, because the second one comes so late, was very stark.
Yeah.
There was no way they were reacting like that when Wolves score a goal.
There was definitely a self-awareness, I think, that we had in this game compared to the Wolves game. You are right. It didn't look nowhere near as tense after that mistake.
It's just sort of like, right, get on with it.
It's like, oh, this is ridiculous. Let's just crack on kind of feeling, I think. But it was also funny because like hours before I'd listened to that Rice Sky Sports interview, and Rice was giving it the big one about, we need to pick ourselves up
and we're
going to
win.
And I was like, dude, like the sort of mental gymnastics you must be doing in that split second when you made that error after doing all that press and you've given it the big word and that's the party line is just like fascinating to me. It's fascinating.
But, that was the point at which I think, as I said, the reason that I walked out is just like, I cannot bear to watch this again.
Yeah.
And I barely finished. I think my husband and I were sort of shouting at each other, celebrating, saying things like, right, lock in, switch on, presumably what they were talking about in the huddle. But, they
didn't listen to you.
They didn't listen. It's almost as if they can't hear me through the TV. So why am I even bothering? But that aside, let's focus on the good stuff. Okay, let's focus on a particular player who 6 months to the day told Spurs to fuck off. And I can't believe how quickly Eze has become such a Spurs hater.
Yeah.
The hate is so strong.
So much content from Spurs fans yesterday, by the way, popping up on my algo that were just like, I think I hate him more than Sol Campbell and like all that. And I was like, he's doing pretty good work there. He's done pretty well in a short space of time.
The reason it looks like he's trolling for them, he's just celebrating so many goals. That's all it is. I love that he did a spinneroonie in their penalty area.
Ridiculous.
Which is amazing stuff.
It's his like boyish, cheeky grin.
Yeah.
It's such a piss take grin. Like it's hard to achieve that level of shithousery.
If I was on the other end of it,
you'd hate it.
I would hate him. Just on the spinneroonie, because we've had a couple of players, Man United, like to dance at the Emirates, unfortunately. Are we a fan of the spinneroonie? I quite like it. I do feel like that we are now, because we're scoring so many goals, got a lot of celebrations to learn.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I've had nothing but abuse today because I was doing the Gyökeres celebration wrong.
You should know better, though,
what were you doing?
People.
You were running around the flag.
No, apparently I've got my thumbs in the wrong position.
Yeah, right, okay.
That's fair,
right.
that's fair.
So next time, I won't do that, but I will get on the floor and do a spinneroonie.
Perfect.
So the spinneroonie comes from the sort of 90s noughties wrestler Booker T, if anyone listening is unaware of what we're talking about. And Eze
do you want to demonstrate?
I'd love to be able to demonstrate. Eze posted a clip of Booker T doing it at the end of his Instagram post, just to clarify that it was a spinneroonie he was attempting to do.
That's the content. I need that content where a player just sits in a black room and just talks about why they've done a celebration and what the first time they saw that video was and where it came to.
Yeah, more content on that. Just before we delve into the Eze conversation a little bit more, speaking of players posting after games, Gabriel. Ooh,
I love it.
Again, another real Spurs hater.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
hello.
Oh, Sam's got some food.
Have you got? Oh, you've got the exact products, but no man of the match.
We'll go with the homage.
My God.
You know what? I'm thrilled that they're allowed to have M&Ms on the bus after a game.
That. And I thought a can of Rio is pretty bold as well.
Yeah, Rio's an odd choice.
It is an odd choice.
Especially at the end of a game, you'd think we need things to kind of like bring us down.
Yeah.
This feels like a thing that I might have before going to a children's party to like, I don't know.
Not before bed. Not before bed.
Yeah. But sorry, to give yourself like a little bit of a sugar buzz. Like, just to prepare for it.
I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that one. I don't go to children's parties, just to be clear.
But if I am going to go to one, I want to be on their level. So I'm going to be buzzing when I get there.
This is sensational, pre-match nutrition.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Sam, for bringing that in. No. He's also holding a pack of cards with a 4 of hearts sticking out.
Good stuff.
Great
it's
stuff.
good. Do you think though, he's going, right, I'm just going to can someone take a picture of me doing this? Like,
100%.
it's quite,
the thing is, though, what I've heard
care.
about Gabriel, like I've heard chat from the club saying that he's quite shy and he's like not into that kind of thing.
No way.
And I'm like, I don't believe that.
Demonstrably, he's happy to
taking the
engage in it,
piss.
isn't he?
He's also crucially tagged Richarlison.
Well, this is
amazing.
where it comes from, isn't it? Because it was the pre-season game where Spurs won, and I think Richarlison scored, didn't he? Or he certainly
got man of the
match, and he tagged Gabriel in it, and presumably they know each other from the national team. So
that was
there's
in
this
response.
element of it being lighthearted.
But Gabriel's won man of the match in both of the previous North London derbies before that, so they've been doing it back and forth. This is just so funny though. It's really good stuff. Just back on Eze, I know you guys talked about this on the show yesterday about how a performance like this gets rewarded, and therefore what choices have to be made in terms of Odegaard. Now that we've all calmed down a little bit and we can maybe see sense as well as excitement, do we think Eze has really earned now a chance to continue what he's done in North London derby, maybe Chelsea, or I think as was suggested as well on the pod, they play together?
I think that basically you factor in how well he did against Wigan in a slightly deeper role as well, and obviously you got the caliber of opposition is a factor there as well. He played brilliantly yesterday. Luke said that he deserves to keep his place, and I agree with that because he was magnificent yesterday. It was his best performance for Arsenal.
He was fueled by vibes,
probably even better than the hat trick in the first derby. I think, despite him not getting that third goal, because he was just all over the shop, wasn't he? He was brilliant. I think it might not actually matter to Arteta though, because it's horses for courses, right? And Eze thrives in space, and if you go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, they will just give you a plot of land with which to do whatever you want. You will get so much space. You could put a little allotment in there if you want.
Those are chickens, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, on basketballs.
Perfect.
Just lily whites growing.
Nice.
Whatever you want.
They're shit. Sorry.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
But I think if you look at how Chelsea played when they last came to the Emirates, and Liam Rosenior's tactical masterclass, where he tried to sort of keep it very, very tight and frustrate us. I imagine because they got some joy doing that, they will probably do that again. And I wonder if Arteta will be more inclined to go with Odegaard for that reason. That said, Trossard had a really, really kind of flat game by his own standards yesterday. And Martinelli's not been pulling up trees lately. So if ever there's a time for Eze to be tried again on the left, this might be it.
Yeah, I think that's the one. I mean, we said on Friday, I think that like Eze is such a vibey player and he needs that love and needs that arm around him. And I think that like everything you said about Chelsea is absolutely bang on. But I do think that like the vibe and it being a big game, it meaning a lot, it being at home, all those things, I think override it. And I think Eze's got it in him to sort of have another, maybe not a 2-goal performance, but another performance. But I'd be so keen on him drifting to the left and putting Odegaard in there as well. Because also when Odegaard came on yesterday, he kind of looked a bit better than he had. So I'm
got an assist as well, which people seem to have forgotten immediately.
Yeah, and I agree with what you were saying on the reaction pod, that the narrative of not playing your captain in the run-in is, all a bit, we should be playing him. But ultimately, it is a kind of a compliment to the players that are playing that we can manage without Odegaard. Bring him on, as you say, he looked really bright when he came on yesterday. The one thing that I did see on Eze yesterday was after the game finishes, Sky always have a little programme with Jamie Carragher where they go into detail about it. And Dave Jones, the anchor, asked Jamie Carragher to try and get his leg as high as Eze did for his first goal, which was incredible TV. He did try it and couldn't get it anywhere near. So I know you don't say. Also wearing jeans, so restrictive. But certainly a vibes player as much as a technical player.
Totally.
Just a quick one on Bukayo Saka. Completely fine at full time. I think probably again.
That was the moment. That was the
meltdown moment.
God, that was it. If ever there was one, because he was on the floor and he was so still for a little, and I'm like, oh, it's not looking good. But yeah, he did seem okay, right?
Yeah.
He'll be fine. He was absolutely. It was fine. Not that we haven't learned our lesson about going down in injury time and wasting time. But again, I think just for now, we've got a week off. Let's just enjoy the glow of Eze. Before we dive into the where does it fit, what does it mean? Let's just enjoy dunking on someone who tried to sign you.
Absolutely.
It's
the sun's come out today in London,
the
which is
birds
nice.
Are singing.
I keep thinking it's Friday. It's the afterglow is glorious, isn't it?
Let's just discuss the Gabriel, the disallowed goal, because I think we are all in agreement that I think we got away with one, Jim.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I've read a lot of stuff this morning, people saying that, if a defender pushes a player with two hands and it's going to be given as a foul, and it feels like Gabriel knows that and has exaggerated it massively to win it, which he has successfully done, but it does. I'd be fuming.
It didn't feel good. But it's the whole thing. People talk a lot now about reading the game based on real time replays and slow down stuff. And I'm like, it is a bit different in real time, but at the same time, it's like we are very lucky there, especially off the back of the few weeks he's had. And
why is everyone so obsessed? I don't know whether I maybe misunderstand this, but it's two hands on the back. Everyone's like, yeah, he's got two hands on him. But I'm like, it's still weak as piss.
But yeah, if you're in midair,
right.
And I think both of his feet were probably technically off the ground for like a millisecond or something. If you are in midair and someone pushes you with two hands, so it's always got a bit more force. There's not really anything you can do, is there?
So
unless you can
unnatural,
fly.
Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. The fall is.
It's a complete trajectory change. It's so funny.
What I will say though is, I remember a North London derby. I think it was a couple of years ago, and we conceded a penalty. I think it's off Son. Maybe Cedric pushes him.
Right.
And it's an absolute farce. So horses for courses.
Yeah.
Things even themselves out. But I think we have to say, look, that's not a part of his game that I particularly like. He's done it 3 times now.
Yeah, I mean,
just be better.
We mentioned the
Newcastle one,
Nick Baltimore one early in the season, which was just ludicrous as well.
I think with Gabriel as well, it's been a kind of slightly, would we say, concerning couple of weeks? Maybe that's going too far, Sam. But there's certainly been a couple of mistakes, moments where you go, actually. Even our senior players like Gabriel are making mistakes that we wouldn't necessarily expect.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's put into contrast because they were so good at the start of the season. It's always going to look terrible when they were so like Loctite right at the start of the season. The same thing with Raya. Raya was amazing yesterday. But I think players are gonna have dips in form, and yes, it looks worse when Gabriel does it. But yesterday, it wasn't a disaster yesterday by any stretch of the word. We got a bit lucky, but it's always going to happen. I don't know.
I do feel like since he's come back from his injury, he's maybe not had the same level as he did before it. And there was obviously the mistake against Bournemouth. There was a moment against Brentford where he just put the ball out for a corner really easily. And Brentford are obviously amazing from set pieces. So it's like the one thing you don't really want to do under no pressure. And obviously they're isolated incidents. But yeah, there is a sense that he doesn't feel as focused. Is
it like, you mentioned the injury thing, like it's the same with Odegaard, I guess, it's in position obviously, but is there an element of like, it must be so difficult to go into these games so quick and like, it's the body trust thing, right? It's like how hard do you want to go in games and, has such a knock-on effect and a long tail that, is it more of a psychological thing he's battling with? I don't know.
I think, I actually agree on the psychological point, but I think there is another element to it, which is, when we are 1-0 up or we are trying to close out a game, those errors become massive issues. Yeah. If we're 4-1 up, if we're 5-1 up, if we're 3-0 up, like we should be in lots of games where we start really well, then, okay, Gabriel makes a mistake. It's not an issue. But because we are so close
But I guess then does it put more pressure? Is our attack again putting more pressure on him that needs to be there? If our attack was a little bit better and we were a bit more front-footed,
that's the point I'm making.
Those mistakes kind of go unnoticed, kind of.
If they put there, if Trossard takes his chance where he gets basically a free shot and spanks it into Rose Ed, we don't talk about this again as like, oh, there were errors and things. It's just it's kind of like a vicious cycle of the attack doesn't take their chances, so that means that exposes the errors of the defence and it kind of breeds uncertainty across the pitch.
For sure. And I think actually something we've spoken a lot about is control, right? Because Arteta talks about control a lot. And we mentioned on the show yesterday that particular incident you're talking about where Trossard spanks it over. I think he should have played in Gyökeres, and there's a second next to him as well. And that's the obvious route to take. So just be direct, be simple, be clinical. Yeah. But what Arteta really means when he's talking about control, right? When it works, is dominance, isn't it? Because essentially we took our chances in important moments yesterday, and far from just controlling the game, we ended up dominating it via the scoreline. And that is something that we've been really good at in past seasons, dominating games. And this time we're controlling games without dominating them. And despite getting lots of good results, I think that's why it feels like it's on a knife edge a lot, even when we're winning games. And that leads to that feeling of like any mistake in the back line being, the thing that's going to knock the whole house of cards down. And I hope that yesterday, and I'm wary of this because I've had this exact same hope after beating Tottenham 4-1 already. I hope this is the start of us starting to be dominant rather than controlling.
Well, the thing, just to go back to Gyökeres on that you would hope that with the time he's had in the team now, coupled with the fact that he just looks like every week you see him play and his figure looks different every time. He looks slimmer every week. It's weird. That last goal he scored, his confidence is obviously pumping there, and you'd hope that as time goes on now, we can sort of start to find our groove a little bit. And I'm with you, Jim. Maybe we just need to be a bit positive and just sort of accept that we're just gonna run away with it.
I hope so. I mean, that last goal from Gyökeres was my favourite. I know that he's essentially being marked by a shell-shocked child, but he did really, really well to score that under pressure.
Yeah, two fantastic goals from Gyökeres. I was so happy for him in the post-match interviews as well. He's just standing there beaming, absolutely beaming. Quick one on someone who I don't think is going to get the praise that he should, but for a very, very good 33-minute cameo, Christian Mosquera.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was brilliant. And actually, another thing from yesterday, despite, the scoreline and all the vibes and all that stuff, is there were a few players who had rusty performances, and Jurriën Timber was absolutely one of them. Now, the ball into Gyökeres was brilliantly incisive for the goal, so obviously credit where he's due for that. But he did look a bit rusty, a bit leggy, gave the ball away a few times when you would expect him not to in the first half. And Mosquera, who has not played a lot of minutes at right back for us, just slotted in like he's been there the whole time. And I'm kind of in favour of having him as an option if Ben White isn't available, because he didn't even make the bench yesterday. Also, Timber needs a rest, clearly.
Timber needs a break, big time. Mosquera is the calmest looking, he's the sweetest, calmest looking man in the squad. He's so zen.
Do you know what year he was born in? 2004.
2004.
Wow. Oh, hello.
That's disgusting.
Okay.
Yeah, 2004. But still.
That's disgusting.
That is disgusting.
That's awful.
You're a child. You should be going to these children's parties that I'm alluding to. But I think a very assured performance. I think they had a lot of success down that flank in the first kind of half of the game, and then afterwards it was just no, you really shall not pass down here. And I think that gives me a lot of confidence. As you say, Timber needs a break. Ben White, injury problems. We have a secure back line beyond just Gabriel and Saliba. Another person who's a huge fan of Arsenal and has been giving us praise is the Spurs manager.
Again,
outrageous.
Coming in hot, winning over the Spurs fans, saying that Arsenal are probably the best team in the world right now. Let's give him his fair dues, because obviously, what is he going to say about Spurs in this situation? We were dog shit and we got slapped up again.
Yeah, and he's an interim manager, isn't he? So he doesn't necessarily have to.
But there was a lot of narrative in the build-up to the game that he has won all of the first games he's had in charge, and you think, okay, here we go again.
But he did also have players in those games, and he didn't have any players.
No, don't give him excuses. They're still shit. But it's hard to say. It's really hard, I think, for a Spurs fan to look at that game and find any positive or any identity that you might get from this new manager.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if you're looking at it from a Spurs persuasion, you're fuming about the disallowed goal, understandably so. You're thinking that Richarlison shot might go in another day, the one that Raya clawed off the line. But, and they had a few chances. Raya had to make a save from Xavi Simons, who I thought had a good game in the first half. Sorry, early in the second half. It's quite slim pickings, isn't it? But I suppose there's something, at least. If you're looking for something, there's that. It was a little bit more inventive, and he's come in promising to make them a little bit more attacking, and hopefully he will do that at the expense of their defence, and they'll lose every game and get relegated.
That's it. It's one of those ones where, where do Spurs go from here in terms of style?
I don't care.
I know, but it's lovely to see. Jim and I were saying before record, if we win the league and they get relegated, it would be marvellous.
There's some really good grounds in the Championship, right? There's a real atmosphere at some of the grounds, lot closer to the players. You get a much more kind of footballing sense in the Championship. Hope they go down. Before we move on, just a quick review of the fans out and about watching Arsenal. Sol Campbell was pictured watching the game in Brooklyn with Spike Lee and just being Sol Campbell in all his weirdness. Sam.
He's a bizarre man, isn't he?
He sure is.
He's a bizarre man. It was like someone had prompted Mid-Journey and that had been spat out the other end. Truly weird. I'm like, it's not only what he was saying, it was the cadence of how he was saying
Speaking
it.
of that, Sam, let's just have a quick listen, because if you haven't seen this, I don't think you're going to expect the kind of the vibes that you're about to hear.
Anything you want to say to the fans?
Hey, Arsenal forever! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Brooklyn! 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 Brooklyn invincible!
You cannot tell me that that's not AI. That's exactly what AI generates.
Insane. I don't think any of us have ever said Arsenal forever, despite all the things we've said about Arsenal.
It's like he's got the song slightly wrong, isn't it?
Crazy.
He is. He's got that kind of. It didn't really come across in that clip, but in the sort of longer version of it, he's got that kind of transatlantic drawl that like radio DJs used to have in the 80s and 90s, which is quite odd. And he, I saw a video of Sol Campbell directly addressing down the camera this chat about him that he's weird, and he was insisting that he's normal, right? And Sol Campbell insisting that he's normal is just chilling. I've been looking for this video for years and I've never been able to find it again. Maybe I dreamed it, but it was just him going, "I am the most normal guy. I am so normal." It haunts me.
Mental.
Well, if let's have that as a call to arms then. If you have seen this video, get in touch. Please get in touch so that we can assure Jim Campbell that he's not going insane. There is also a bit where he's asked to introduce himself, and he says Sol Campbell in the way that you might have when you ask someone auditioning for X Factor, like what their name is. And he's like, Sol Campbell. What's wrong with you?
Here? He also cowers over the guy interviewing him, and he's got like a scarf on, and it really does look like he's green screened in. It's very peculiar.
I love that he's just bouncing around New York.
I know,
drinking with Arsenal fans.
Funny.
Though.
It's
great.
Weird. It's so weird.
He's having a lovely time. Last thoughts then. If Spurs lose or draw against Fulham this weekend, it will hand us St Totteringham's Day on the 1st of March.
That's delightfully early.
Truly.
Very, very early. But it's so funny because that's kind of like the least of the things that I'm that excited about. We could win the league and they could get relegated.
It could be a great season.
It could be a great season. Well, let's talk about it then. After the break, it's time to talk about the run-in. Welcome back to the thing about Arsenal. Now, we've had an email in from James who says, "My brother celebrated his 21st birthday over the weekend. Naturally, he had an Arsenal cake with pictures of some of this season's squad on it. After our family had a go at it, 2 players were left before the game started. And from this image, have a guess which 2 players might be left over. We've got Gyökeres and we've got Eze. Is our cake psychic?" Can I just say, I love that people are still getting cakes with footballers' pictures on them. It feels
great.
so nostalgic.
Yeah, really, truly. Also, this feels like a bit voodoo as well, doesn't it?
It does.
You know,
yeah, voodoo
leaving them there to do the job.
Is our cake psychic?
Yeah.
That feels like the natural extension of that show. Is it cake?
Yeah.
Because I thought "Is it cake" is about as ridiculous as things can get. But
Sol
we
Campbell
know
just
from
looking
with
at a
every
cake,
passing
asking
day.
it if it's psychic or not.
Are you normal?
It fits. Yeah, that does fit though. Weirdly, yeah.
I'm normal.
Love that. I mean, the cake looks delicious. And I'm going to ask you, James, to please leave it. Do not have the rest of it. I want to see that at the end of the season, and then we can celebrate when we've won the title with this psychic cake.
Yeah, you might have to get a cake per game. That's the other option.
That is another option, yeah. Send us an invoice. Don't actually, because we're not going to pay it.
No.
But that would be good. Man City beat Newcastle 2-1 on Saturday.
Underwhelming.
Boring. Thanks, Newcastle. Now fuck off.
Oh, do you know what the worst thing? Sorry, we'll touch on it, but it's so. We said this on Friday as well, but it's so annoying because you get so certain that they're going to get a draw. You honestly, I believe it. I'm like, it's happening for like moments, and it doesn't happen. It's fucking annoying.
Do you actually, Sam? Because I'm here to tell you,
I felt it.
You deserve that.
I felt like, this is going to happen here. I'm going to feel positive. It's been a great weekend. It never ever happened.
They'd had that trip to Baku. They've got a pretty
but they looked
rough
all right
record at the
considering.
Etihad. Yeah.
My husband and I were thinking of watching it, and then we were sort of flicking through TNT between all the kind of Winter Olympics, and they had a little ident that was like, join us at 8 p.m. for Newcastle's trip to the Etihad, a ground where they have never won in the Premier League.
Wow.
Off.
Cool.
I think
Blimey,
that's
I didn't
right.
realise it was that
I
bad.
think that's right. Or they have like probably the worst record at the
pretty
Etihad
bad.
compared to any other game. So Sam, I'm sorry, but you bought that point yourself.
I know.
There are games that we can get hopeful they'll drop points. That was not one of them.
No.
But there are games coming up that maybe we can have a bit of hopium copium about. So we have a week off before Chelsea, and there are 10 games left. So if we very quickly run through who we've got. So we face Chelsea at home, Brighton away, Everton at home, Bournemouth at home, Man City away, Newcastle at home, Fulham at home, West Ham away, Burnley at home, and Crystal Palace away, where we will lift the Premier League trophy. Sam, which one of those fills you with the most dread, apart from Man City, obviously? Are there any way you think, don't love it?
I always get a bit worried about Everton because I've been to a couple of Everton away games and we fucking lose all the time. And it really just it's kind of puts the fear of God into me. I think the Newcastle one is the obvious one. Because they've been a bit of a banana skin for us in the last few years.
We tend to do pretty well against them at home.
Well, we are at home, yeah.
That doesn't matter.
That doesn't calm your nerves.
Doesn't come into it.
So all of them, to summarise.
All of the games, the whole
sport.
Yeah, all of it. Jim, what about you? Any of them particularly stand out as going, that's not going to be as easy on paper, or I worry about this? Like the Man City one, we just know that we're going to have to be at our absolute best there. Yeah,
well, the Everton one that Sam mentioned comes at a tricky time, doesn't it? Because it's around the time of the Carabao Cup final, and there is a Champions League two Champions League legs around it as well. So that's going to be one of those ones where you're thinking rotate for Everton. Well, that's also a really important game. But something we need in this run-in is, though, I speak good, is rotation, isn't it? We need to see more of Norgard. We need to see more of White. If we need to see more of Mosquera at right back because White's not available, then we need to see more of Mosquera at right back. And I hope we're going to start to see a bit more of that. Other than the Everton game, because of the circumstances around it, I think West Ham away with 3 games to go is tricky because they will be fighting for their lives at that point. And they like to bloody the nose of bigger teams, really, don't they? They are quite good sometimes at that when they're backed into a corner. And obviously, Nuno Espirito Santo is very experienced and has got them playing in a much better way lately than the form that got them in this situation in the first place. So I think that one could be tricky.
But in general, do we feel like, and actually, let's first go through Man City's fixtures, because I think the ones that stand out is that they still need to go to Chelsea. They still need to go to Everton. I'm really scraping the barrel here. Yeah. They also still need to play football.
Very interesting that none of us said Chelsea, but my thinking of that is because that's essentially the crocodile nearest the boat. It's like obviously that's a problem, and that could be tricky.
On that though, I do think that Leeds is going to be a bit trickier than we expect for Man City on the weekend.
Yeah. Leeds aren't. I don't think they've lost at home. Oh no,
we beat them
at home, didn't we? So, and did they lose at home again recently? I saw a stats recently. They hadn't lost under the lights. I'm like, are we doing that now?
Oh, the levels of the stats are just ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, we've never lost on a Wednesday when it was raining. Yeah, okay.
But I think I'm
not in the year of the fire horse.
Quite quietly optimistic that Leeds could do something to see.
That would be absolutely exceptional, wouldn't it? If they could immediately drop points, because we need them to do that again now. Of 100%. Course we do. We put ourselves in a situation like that. That's the thing about this result, isn't it? It's a lovely warm feeling, but we had to win it. It was absolutely the minimum requirement was a win. So we are really in a battle now.
Yeah, there was a lot of chat on my sort of WhatsApp group as soon as maybe like an hour after we'd finished the game that had quite quickly turned to Chelsea terror, because it's just you don't get this opportunity to kind of bask for very long. No. Obviously, I'll probably do it until Wednesday. I reckon I'll be annoying and obnoxious, but that's going to quite quickly turn to actually that result. It seems silly to say, but it doesn't change much because we had to win it,
and we have to win every game.
We have to win.
This is what it is now, isn't it?
How much, Jim, do you feel like this is a familiar run-in? Because I feel like I've been here before, that they have a game in hand and we have, on paper, slightly harder fixtures. I feel like I've done this before.
They've got harder fixtures, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I really do. I feel like we've been in many times before, especially with them having that floating.
Why have they always got a game in hand? Why?
It should be like a money in the bank thing for us, where we just we decide when that is. And it can be like just as they finished another game. Right, play them now.
Straight away.
Palace are here.
I think the thing about this season is that there's so many teams that we just don't know what you're going to get. Like West Ham, you said, they're going to be a bit of a pain. Like Bournemouth haven't been amazing, but like you don't know what they're going to do. And
I trust us at home generally, though.
But the Villa thing for City, I know it's at home for City, but like that should be a hard game, depending on if obviously Villa are just like on the beach already. But it's tough to say, isn't it? It's a tough spread of fixtures, both sides.
Because sometimes we just go into those run of fixtures where we aren't at our best, and we cannot have that again.
But I think, Jim, the sentiment that I have this morning, and maybe this is delusion, but to exactly what you've just said, I hope this is the end of that run, that yesterday bookends, right, you've had a little bit of a wobble, there has been some bad results, but we haven't lost.
Yeah, we've all said some things we regret.
We've all said some things we've regret. It's water under the bridge, okay? But now you've had your wobble, now you just have to play what's in front of you. I think, Sam, you said about playing at home, we have slightly fewer away games than City, and we just need to make the Emirates like a fortress, like Spurs were trying to do yesterday. I don't know whether you guys heard this on the TV, but the stadium announcer going well in on how nervous we were in a way that I just thought, do you know that we can all hear you? This isn't some sort of monologue for you. Who are you talking to? But the importance of our home form here could be the difference. Do you feel?
I guess, I think I'd like to think so. I think the thing is the Champions League is the other thing, and I'm actually. How do you guys feel? I don't know if I asked you this, but are you pro Champions League or pro Premier League? If you had to take one,
that is usually I would say the Champions League because we've never won it, and I can't even begin to fathom how amazing that must feel. But because of the finishing second 3 years in a row. I think I'd go for the Premier League this year.
I would agree with Jim. Any other season, you'd go, we've never won it. That would put aside this constant baiting of us about winning a European Cup. But the narrative, and I think what it would do for our future, the Premier League would be more valuable. Yeah. I also think, I know there's been lots of debate about this season, about the strength of the Premier League. What you just said there about not knowing what some of these teams are going to be like, for me, that makes this a very tough Premier League to win.
Yeah.
Just on the balance between the Premier League and the Champions League, which we are going to have to do during this run-in, Sam, how do you feel about trusting Arteta to rotate appropriately? Because none of these games can be thrown away. They're all must win. We need all our best players available at all times. Do you trust him on the basis of how he's rotated up to this point that he's going to do it again?
I think it's his biggest test yet. I'm not sure if I do trust him because I don't know if he's had to. I don't know.
Yeah,
it makes me feel so uneasy thinking about it because there's not a scenario where I feel like super happy about like mass rotation and like in the attacking rotation that we've seen, for example, like there's been such evident drop-offs that like I feel like he has tried stuff and he's tried to fix problems, but it obviously hasn't worked out. But I think that's as much of a player problem.
I don't think the players have made it easy for him because there is such an inconsistency. Like we talked about Trossard a little bit for quite a flat performance in the derby, when normally we'd expect Trossard's a big game player. He's a big hater as well. He's born from the same kind of hating
evil prince
hates it. But Jim, how do you expect Arteta to navigate this? Because it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, the feeling I have is I think this is similar to you, Sam. It's like I want to trust him, but based on the evidence of what we've seen so far from this season, I'm not sure that he is going to essentially employ the rotation to the level that we were all hoping he would at the start of the season. There was a stat we were talking about the other day, wasn't there? The tiny amount of minutes that Christian Norgard has played compared to Martin Zubimendi and Ben White compared to Jurriën Timber as well. Now, I know that White's had injury problems, but it's still quite stark. I think that, Zubimendi and Timber in particular are players who've played so much and really would benefit from having a little bit of time out of the team to just be at their best whenever they come back into it. And these are able deputies. These are not Rob Holding players, are they? They're all there because they're good enough. And I hope that he does start to trust these guys a bit more. I think the Chelsea game is probably one where he's going to want his best players out there because they're difficult opposition. We've already played them a lot, so they know us quite well. I hope after that we see a bit more rotation, but it is a hope rather than an expectation.
I think the two that jump out to me, the Jesus thing is the interesting one to me because Jesus isn't cutting it in the league. And
he's had moments though, Jesus.
But he I feel like he fits the Champions League better for me. The intergame for one.
I feel like
was
my
the one, and Martinelli.
expectation of Jesus is way beyond what he can actually deliver.
Yeah, I
for a
agree.
while, I thought he'd be our saviour when Gyökeres was, struggling, and Jesus was coming back from injury, and you're like, right, we're saved. He's not really delivered on that.
No, but I do think him and Martinelli is the other one that I think kind of pick themselves a little bit in Europe, which makes his Arteta's choice sort of his options a little bit easier, I guess. But I don't know. I don't feel that confident about it, no. But as I've made clear, I want the Premier League more than the Champions League. I'm not as fussed about the Champions League as a lot of people are.
Right.
Which is
Play the
weird.
kids then.
Whatever.
Which is weird, but so you'd rather him.
I want it all, Sam. I want it
know
all.
we want them
I'm
all.
sorry.
I know we want them all. All right, fine.
Can I just say, I have this maybe slight delusion that Arteta has been waiting for this run-in to actually start rotating. Now, that is based purely on
We share this thought.
fear and, something that I can't have seen in the evidence before. I like to think he's in his little room with his notepads going, now is the time for Norgard.
But it's the same part of my brain,
Yeah.
Laura, that thinks that like he's told Gyökeres like not to score goals up until this point, and then he'll just be like, "Oh, you can start scoring them now.
Yeah.
He's really good."
You weren't expecting
but
this.
it just doesn't happen like
Basically,
that, does it?
what I'm imagining is that Arteta has like a little switch on each player that he can just flick up and down.
Yeah.
And so same with Gyökeres, he's like, bang, now it's time to go.
Yeah.
Norgard, off we go. But just a quick one on Pep, just being completely normal. Pep said after Newcastle's win that his players should have a lot of caipirinhas and daiquiris to help with the pressure of a title race.
I really hope they take that literally.
Yeah, make them
Just
really
get
strong.
on the piss.
Get on it. Look, Erling, you were lying on the floor at the end of the game. Do you know what?
Yeah.
Do you know what helps with recovery?
A raw milk White Russian.
Absolutely. Sam, what's your as the resident foodie? What's your cocktail of choice? Are you going to say something like a Negroni?
I do
aren't
like
you?
a Negroni.
Yeah, I knew it.
You know me quite well.
A Negroni is a glass of alcohol. There's no
Yeah.
mixer in it.
What's wrong with it?
Yeah, but it somehow tastes a bit like medicine.
Yeah.
It's good though. It's good.
Yeah.
Though. A few of them.
I do like a White Russian actually, but you can only have
A
one.
White Russian is
Yeah.
filthy for me. It's too much, man. It doesn't go.
Well, you gotta have
It
one, that's what I mean.
It
You
shouldn't
can't-
go. No. Laura?
Well, I mean, I'm basic, so something like a peach blini.
Oh yeah, nice.
Nice.
Okay, good.
But we can hope that Man City get out on the piss for some reason and have some cocktails. Not to be outdone though, Arteta said that he writes love letters to his players. Do we think this was literal?
Does he just say stuff though? Now?
He does.
He be
yeah.
saying
The thing-
anything.
He was joking as much as I ever believe Mikel Arteta is joking. Do you know what I mean? I think he probably.
I'd love
I
to
think
know
he's
what he's
probably
like at
got
home.
them pre-written for when he needs them.
It's so weird.
Ex-player is
Weird
struggling at
man.
the moment. I'm just going to pop this under his door on an away trip.
He's as weird as Pep. Let's not forget.
easily.
He truly, he
Easily.
really is as weird as Pep. It's odd, man.
Well, maybe one day when we lift this title, we'll all get a love letter
That'd be
from
nice.
Mikel Arteta. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? That'd be nice. Well, Sam, Jim, thank you for being with me on this fantastic day to be an Arsenal fan and on this episode of The Thing About Arsenal. Sam, what are you going to do for the next couple of days just to keep this going?
I'm gonna watch it. Watch the reruns.
Yeah.
Watch the highlights.
I've watched it so
many
many
times.
Screen time's taking a hit this week.
And then on like Wednesday evening, start getting a bit nervous about Chelsea. I reckon.
Yeah,
Wednesday, as soon as Wednesday.
As soon as that. Yeah.
Jim,
I think so.
Jim, you're going to be basking a bit longer?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I my windows of nervousness have got shorter, so I've got older. The intensity is the same, but the windows are shorter. So it's probably when the other fixtures start kicking off.
Okay,
I'm
nice.
like, oh
Yeah.
God, and then points go on the table and whatnot.
And we got the Champions League draw on Friday, which is going to take a lot of my attention away from dreading Chelsea, basking in Tottenham. So that's another little nugget to look forward to, you know?
Absolutely.
Well, remember to get in touch with us, guys. We want to hear how you are being incredibly insufferable this week as an Arsenal fan. We are show at thingaboutarsenal.com or on our socials at thingaboutarsenal on Instagram and at aboutarsenalpod on X. They are crying at the lane. We will see you then.